TeeFury is the premier platform for independent artists to debut their pop culture inspired work on apparel. So on tees, on shoes, on leggings and skirts now. And I'm really excited to have some of our regular contributors up here to tell you a little bit about their experience in the TeeFury world and just in the pop culture world and art world in general. So without any further ado, let's have each of them introduce themselves and sort of tell your origin story of how you became an artist.
Hi guys, I'm Drew Wise. I basically always wanted to be an artist all my life. I remember back in preschool drawing Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. I've always had people inspire me to continue working towards that. Eventually I got a bachelor's in animation and kept trying out new ways to kind of make art and make it a living. And eventually I got printed on TeeFury, and it's been amazing since, just doing that and loving it.
Hello, I'm Crystal. I go by the name Bambuda. I've been drawing like Drew ever since, I don't know, I was in the cradle. And I went to high school. I went to art high school, and then I went to art college. I went to 3 art colleges. And then I went to the same school as Drew, Art Institute, shout out. And then and then after several jobs that I held with my bachelor's in animation, I decided to quit my job and become a professional freelancer doing t-shirts and logos and freelance and all that whatnot. And that's what I'm doing now.
Start doing art seriously or think that I wanted to be an artist until I was probably like 16 or 17, and my parents weren't thrilled about it. And I went to the University of Vermont and I took lots of different classes, and then I was like, no, this is definitely what I want to do. And I transferred to the School of Art and Design in Sarasota, Florida, because I really wanted to work for Disney and do traditional animation. And that was a school that they recommended. So after I graduated, I spent 3 or 4 years waitressing and trying to break into art and animation and kind of failing miserably. I fell into teaching and was an elementary school art teacher for a long time, but then in 2009 I lost my job. I was like, maybe I'll try to make art work this time, and I found TeeFury and Redbubble and all that, started doing pop culture, and it just kind of clicked this time, so I kind of took it a long way around.
I'm Dylan H.M. and I go by Drew Wise. I have been drawing and doing art ever since I was a little kid too, but I came from a small town where I didn't know anybody that did art. So I was working in a video store in college. I was a jazz trombone major. And I got a job as a production assistant on a movie. And I was also working at a little graphic design house, just scanning negatives and making really primitive interactive kiosks for a primitive web company. But I got a job on this movie, and I started making graphics for other TV shows, movies, and stuff, and that's how I got my art job. It was like a Battlefield promotion. And then I found TeeFury too. They did my first print. And I've been trying to cram in as much t-shirt design as I can. I'm not as prolific as these guys, but I'm honored to be up here, so thank you.
I'm Captain Ribman. I've always loved drawing. I was always thrilled when I was in kindergarten, huge fan of Peanuts, and so I wrote to Schultz, and he wrote back, I thought, but I found out later there was just like his assistant just sent me a picture, but I thought it was him, which inspired me to like always want to be a cartoonist. So my whole life I just assumed that's what I would be. And I went to Colorado Institute of Art and got a design and advertising degree, and then went to the University of Kansas, got an illustration degree. And after doing a lot of work in children's marketing with restaurants and stuff, I developed the character Captain Ribman, which I then was able to develop into a comic strip. And at one point it appeared in over 300 newspapers. It's like an old history of Captain Ribman, about where I came from. And it appeared twice a week, and I realized that is so much work to put out a comic strip that I realized that might not be my dream anymore, because it is a lot of work to do that, but not a lot of pay. And so I started just doing a lot of other freelance. I do everything from logo design to illustrations, and I work in so many different formats. But back in like 2010, I think, was my first print with TeeFury. I wrote, and I think they saw some of my stuff, and it offered to print me, and it turned into a great partnership. So, thank you.
Could you talk a little bit about maybe some of the struggles that you guys have encountered in getting your name out there and developing your brand?
Crystal?
What? Some of the struggles? Well, one of my main struggles is, like you're saying, say the question again, I'm sorry.
Just, I feel like people might want to know some of the things that you've had to overcome, getting your name out there and becoming sort of a household name in design.
Oh, a household name.
Yeah.
Well,
everybody knows your secret.
Well, one of my personal struggles was trying to balance what I wanted to do with what I had to do, meaning I started doing TeeFury back in 2011, and I had a full-time job. I was working 40 plus hours, and I would have to like get off work. You know, I'm tired. I had a creative job, so mentally my mind was like shot. So I had to find some sort of motivation and discipline to keep on trucking and working like extra hours. So I would work till like 3 o'clock in the morning creating my brand, and then after I did that, the next struggle was how to promote it. And so at first it was kind of like it wasn't easy, but with the help of TeeFury it was kind of easy. And through Facebook, when it was much better, it was easier to connect with people out there and promote yourself. But right now the struggle is trying to find better organic social media and stuff like that to show it to you guys. That's my answer.
Yeah, it's definitely all about that first initial startup, making design, making it pay the bills, and so you can spend extra time not working in a full-time job. And yeah, so I guess my real struggle is definitely as a brand is you always have all these tons of ideas, and you always want to make them and make them work really well, and you also kind of want to keep going with the trends, what's popular, and what people want to wear. I mean, generally speaking, what ultimately did the best for me was just stuff that I wanted to wear as a fan of whatever I was working on, and putting a lot of time and effort into it, and asking your peers, like, hey, what do you think of this? And getting some critiques, and kind of polishing as much as you can. And then as soon as you start putting artwork out there, people do see it and they love it, and they'll reach out to you and buy your stuff and support you in that. And, so I would say it definitely. Biggest struggle is to have the time to work on what you love, make it work in a way that you love it, and sharing it with people online. And social media, I guess, is like the best part about it, but also the worst part, because it's pretty difficult to get things to track. I used animation, because I have an animation degree. I would make a design, and then I spend a little extra time making it into a cute little animated GIF and share it on Tumblr, and that would spread all over Tumblr, and that would get shared on Reddit, and then people, at the end of the day, would go find a that helped me a lot. But animation is really time consuming too. So there's lots of different ways you can try out. If you're an artist and you're trying to build, a brand and great designs, keep trying different ways to kind of get your stuff out there. You'll find something that works for you.
I'd say, yeah, I agree that finding the time to work is huge because I have a ton of different ideas and projects that I want to work on, and figuring out which one's going to bring me in the right direction that I want to go in, but also pay my bills and find time to sleep or anything like that. But I think I guess figuring out what your brand is was kind of difficult for me too. I got kind of popular because of the Disney Doctor Who mashups I was doing, but that obviously I've been working on characters at some point. And then I want to work on my own brand, my own, and figuring out what that is too, but then also keep all of this fan base that I have happy and create for them too. So I'd say it's a huge balancing act, and the social media thing is a whole other, like the Facebook hurdles right now, and making sure that you balance time to work, time to do business stuff, time to do the social media stuff.
Yeah. It's pretty rewarding too. It's amazing. It's a lot of hard work, but once you wow, these people on my stuff, and then you find someone wearing it, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, you get the instant gratification from social media and the feedback, both positive and negative.
Yeah, it's great.
But,
You? My time.
Come on, Drew.
true.
I'm lucky in regards to I have a job where I'm on call for 50 hours a week. So if something lands in my lap, I have to be there and work as hard as I can. And then sometimes I'm waiting for that to happen. So sometimes I have some free time. And I have a friend that's also a t-shirt designer. I don't know if you've heard of Chris McVie, Power Pig. But I hired him for a job to make a Lego model for me. That's how we became friends. And I started doing t-shirts, but I was printing my own. I was having them silk screened and doing sizing. I used to be in a band, so I used to do that all the time. And I played trombone in college. I played in a rock and roll band. But anyway, Chris told me, he basically intimated, we don't print our own shirts. We have other people do that. So he and some other people were really helpful in sort of walking me through what it means to design pop culture tees. And productivity is key. People that turn out a lot of designs do a lot of designs, and you don't even see all the things that they do. And I think the biggest hurdle to anyone is ideas are great, but if you don't actually finish them and get them submitted, it's not going to help you at all. And Facebook is terrible. I came in when it was great, and I've seen how bad it has become. It's just absolutely, practically useless unless you're willing to throw some money at it. So anybody who's creative in marketing, even TeeFury, for example, I'm sure their whole business model with Facebook has had to change. And from an artist standpoint, to help out, to market all that stuff, it's been, I don't know, it's frustrating to me. You used to just have to keep up the posting and engage, but now they just want you to throw money at them, and I'm sort of getting off the point I was trying to make. Facebook rant. Yeah. But anyway, as far as marketing myself, that productivity is the key. Room's starting to turn upside down, getting really nervous. No, I'm just kidding. That's good, but I guess that's all I have to add. These guys, yeah, thank you. I yield my time to Ribman. Thank you, excellent.
So for me, the first couple of designs I actually did for TeeFury, I did actually under my actual name, which is not used much, but it's John Sprungmeyer. But then I went back and I realized that I actually had a little bit weirdly of a following with Captain Ridman, and to me it was a brand that stood out a little bit better than just a generic name or my actual name. And so to me, Captain Ribman was something that people could focus on, was a little bit more that I could say things online on Facebook and stuff like that that would feel kind of weird if I were the one actually saying it. So it became an easy way for me to, you know, make some postings or whatever. And so it was also, when I started to work for TeeFury, I don't know, I don't have a set style like so many of the other people here. I do lots of different styles, and I don't know, I'm kind of a whore with what I do, and you know, all over the board. And so it let me put everything just underneath the umbrella of Captain Ribman, and it was just a lot easier to work that way. And
There's always a huge debate in like our artist group whether or not you should go by your regular name or your
Pseudonym, yeah.
What is your regular name?
I'm not telling you. But yeah, that's always something we debate. There's pros and cons to both.
Like, do you find using a pseudonym helpful in any way? Is there any positive spin on that?
I find it positive because it's easier than Crystal Fontaine because everyone gets my last name wrong. And also, it's just easier for marketing, really. Like, you have bambuda.com, @bambuda, Twitter, bambuda, Instagram, you know what I mean? It's just easier for people to find me. And I have a logo, which is, since I do a lot of graphic design, I feel like when you have a logo, it's good because it's iconic, and so like it's, if you have that repeated a lot, like people will remember you. So that's why I chose to do logos and names and stuff instead of boring old Crystal. So that's my answer.
You guys touched a little bit on just the sort of post-organic marketplace and how Facebook is not doing as well to like get things virally out there. How do you guys engage your audience in that world?
I mean, I found that, I have a Facebook, and Facebook is hard right now. I still am able to get to, with a lot of my posts, 50 to 75% of my audience, which I know these days is really hard without paying for it. But I find that, again, posting regularly, photos rather than any kind of share. Like if you share a link or if you share someone else's post, it's not going to go anywhere. Photos and asking people's opinions and getting your fan base engaged in your work really, really helps. Switching up your content, not always just, here's my art, go buy it, but here's what I'm working on. What do you think about this? Or check out this other artist, they're awesome. Or going to see this movie, have you guys seen it yet? What did you think? Like that keeps them coming to your page, and it also shows up in their little stalker feed on the side, and then other people go and check it out. So I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's still, you can still make your work.
I feel that, like what Karen is saying, I feel that me as a fan of different artists too, I like when artists are people instead of entities. So like what Karen's saying, to interact with people, polling, showing work in progresses, how should I do this, what color should I do that. People really like to engage and be interactive, and I constantly ask what topic should I do next, because one, I don't know what the kids like nowadays, you know what I mean? I'm the kid of the 80s, you know. I'll do, like I was talking to Tom this morning, Top Gun's one of my favorite movies. I'll rock out a Top Gun design, like all the time, but these kids nowadays don't even know what Top Gun is. You know what I mean? So like I like to interact and say, hey guys, what should I do? I don't know, which Pokemon's hot right now? I feel that people like that instead of, hey guys, check out my shirt, it's on sale today, which is on sale tomorrow. Karen's shirt's on sale today, mine's tomorrow. Hashtag Karen Hard. And so that's my answer for that, like just being interactive with people.
Yeah, social media is really tricky. It used to be a lot easier back in the days because they wanted people to use their social media websites, like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that. So, you know, it's free and ideas if you want your people to see your stuff. So for example, Facebook is kind of, like let's say I have some new design and I sell it, and it's not a daily tee, it's just something I made and it's available, and Facebook will want you to pay to advertise it on the side. Or they'll say, hey, you should advertise your brand, you know, you'll get lots of likes and you'll have like 100 likes a day, do this, and if you do that, then those likes don't mean anything because you still get 0% visibility from your fans unless you pay for each post to be seen, and unless you have lots of organic traffic. And the only way to really trick that Facebook algorithm is if, you know, you seem like a person and you do a lot of polling, you talk to them and you watch the work in progress, or you could say like, hey, like, comment, subscribe, and you can win a free shirt, and then people will comment, like, and share it, and then Facebook's like, oh, this is something, you know, let's let it go viral, then maybe this person will pay for ads in the future. I've paid ads on Facebook, and now I have 0% visibility for fans, and it's crazy. I have like 15,000 likes and 0 people see it, so I've kind of pushed myself to other social medias like Twitter and Instagram.
Instagram's huge.
Instagram's great. I'm sure that'll get kind of toned down soon. But if you're an inspiring artist and want to share your work, definitely use Instagram. Twitter can be good, but you gotta post often because most Twitter people have like 1,000 people they follow, so whatever you post is gone in 3 minutes. Tumblr is pretty good too, but it's the same thing. Lots of people would follow that also. So I'd say if you make art and you want to share it, definitely post a lot of it often and post it everywhere, and kind of keep going at it. Yeah, I mean, generally as an artist, like I remember when I first started doing this stuff, it was, I pretty much don't like anything I did like 4 years ago, because as you keep working on it, the last thing you did tends to be your favorite thing you've done, and you keep pushing yourself further and further, and you become more of a perfectionist, and you ultimately grow into a better designer, and just with practice, you know, perfect. It really is true. So, you know, I remember making lots of designs and not selling very well or not getting picked up and things like that. But don't let it discourage you. Just keep going and keep pushing yourself. And don't let social media hold you down. Just keep going for it.
Everything they say.
Everything they say. Already very like Facebook rant.
So how do you guys, you talked about like engaging your audience and everything, but how do you balance your own personal taste against what your audience wants to see? Do you ever have marketability really influence your aesthetic or what your design choice is going to be?
That kind of yes and no a little bit. I mean, I only design things I like, and so I don't really necessarily think about my final audience, about if it's going to necessarily, I do think like some of my weird fetishes are not going to make good t-shirts, and so those will not be seen. But some of the other, most of the other stuff, though, hopefully, you know, I can find some kind of audience out there with someone to engage with. So yeah, I mean, I usually don't think about like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy is super hot, I need to do something along that, you know, it's just like, sometimes I'll go see the movie and then afterwards, you know, I'll think about maybe this would be a cool design, we'll do that, but I don't know, it doesn't usually control me about what is the market force, because all my references are usually like from the 70s or something. I mean, I do Soylent Green shirts and stuff, and old people, most kids don't know, so anyway, that's.
For me is that, well, since freelancing is my main source of income, I have to do like a balance, like what Tom said, it's a struggle, but sometimes you have like, what do I want to do? I want to do like an 80s reference, but mama needs to pay the bills, so let me do something that's hot right now, you know what I mean? But then like, so what I do is, I mean, first of all, I never do anything I don't love. Everything I do is something I love, that I'm like pumped about. Like I saw Pacific Rim, I pumped that design out like 2 hours afterwards. I was like, this movie's so badass. So I did that. But then like, I just recently did a batteries not included design, which is gonna be like, yeah, that's the one that comes out tomorrow. Like I'm kind of anxious to see how that shirt does, because when I do a design that's hot right now, that's like saturating the market, right? Like Jurassic World, let's say, right? That's, everybody saw it, everybody loved it. If I do a design right now that it's gonna, you know, go on that wave and probably not be seen. So what I did was, I'm like, I'm gonna do something that's left field. Right now, it's left field. So I did that, the battery's not included, and a lot of people liked it, and I felt really good about it. I'm like, this is great. People like what I do from the 80s, this is awesome. So then I'm like, all right, I got fulfilled. I'm fulfilled. Let me do something that's hot, like Mad Max, which was a badass movie. But let's do something that's Mad Max. I want to do Food Just Hot because mama needs to pay the bills. So like, that's how I balance it. Like as a businesswoman, that's how I balance it. Like, I want to be an artist, which I am, but it's my only source of income. I mean, TeeFury is not my only source of income, but it's one of my main ones. So I need to do something that people want because my dog needs food. You see? That's why. It's true.
Yeah, I'd say, she pretty much said exactly right. Like, it's, you want to remember why you're doing this, spending, 10 hours a day sitting on the computer or on your, drawing pad or whatever, working on stuff, and you want to make stuff that you love, hope that people want it too. And so like Batteries Not Included is a great example too, because that's something that there's not a whole lot of merchandise out there for that. That's a loved movie, and so there's a good demand that you can find from that, especially if it's a style and an aesthetic that people love also. Yeah, so then also, riding that wave of what's hot and popular, especially since you're a fan of it. And yeah, and that kind of keeps you energized and keeps you like, wow, yeah, I could just, I won't let, all these distractions on the internet, stop me from working hard because this is stuff I care about and I want to make, and, and hopefully people like it, if not whatever, but move on to the next thing. But also what you can do is, besides t-shirt design, you could do other projects. Like I'm working on like indie game for cell phone, I'm doing different kinds of merchandise, record art. I have so many interests in so many different things. I'm like juggling projects like crazy, but I love it because it's a lot of hard work, and you become a workaholic in a sense. But it keeps you, focused and driven, and it pays the bills. Especially since I was going to be an animator, I wanted to go work at Pixar and do that kind of stuff. And I found out, oh yeah, you have a 4-year degree, but you need 4 years of experience, or you can be an unpaid intern. And that's like, all right, well, then I'll just keep trying out different things and see what works and what works for me. And that's how TeeFury definitely became part of my career. But yeah, so keep trying things and keep things fun. And yeah, definitely try out what's trending too, because that could be the big hit that lets you, sit in your underwear for a month not doing anything. That's a big hit.
Can you casually observe movies now, or do you always look at any pop culture that you're consuming like through an artist's lens?
That's what's interesting. I read that question before, and I thought that was interesting because I remember my first couple of years doing pop culture mashup, it was constantly like, how can I do this? How can I switch these two things together? What's going to work? What's going to not? And I came up with dumb things that didn't go anywhere. And then as soon as you just relaxed and just enjoyed watching things again for the reasons that I wanted to watch them anyway, one thing would just remind me of another, and then I'd be like, well, what if I did this? So if it's more, for me, if it's more organic and I just let it kind of rattle around my brain, instead of just being like, I'm going to switch these two things together because they both begin with the letter H, so they'll make sense that way or something.
For me,
Kristen.
thank you. I usually see a movie, I watch a movie and I don't know, I'm too kind of like, before I was like Karen, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that and whatnot, but then I was like, nah, that's too much stuff for one property, because I usually do like, I mean, it depends really, but like if I'm trying to do something trending, I usually do like 1 or 2. I don't do a million because, I just get bored of it. But like I watch a movie now and I'm like, oh, this is great, this is awesome. And then afterwards, I let it ferment in my brain. And then I'm like, oh, this is a good idea. After like probably hours or days after the movie, I like get the idea or whatever. but sometimes the inspiration just comes to you without even thinking, like while you're watching something or TV or whatnot. So that's my answer.
Yeah, we're thinking that because there are so many people doing this now that it is hard to just be part of the bandwagon. If I know I can be the first one doing something, like I did a Confederate flag thing, the General Grant, this past week or two, and like the day that news was breaking, I had a t-shirt online about that. And so that was a kind of cool one. And I did one with TeeFury about the whatever North Korea movie, and that was also one that no one else was running a shirt like that and able to pounce on the censorship thing. It's the picture you had up before about it. And so if I can be the first one doing it, or something that no one else is going to do, that's cool. But otherwise, it's good to just go back and I will make another Soylent Green reference probably.
Fast enough to jump on things like that. I'm too slow.
Yeah, if I have just a little down, if I have a down period one day, it's like it worked out perfect this week ago. So
yeah. I keep really awful notes, so I'll watch a movie, stop in the middle, and then write it down. And 2 weeks later, I see I've written down bad backs. That's how I was watching Mad Max. I don't know what that means. So apparently I had a really good idea. But I didn't explain it well enough to myself. So I really appreciate it when people can crank out a good idea quickly, but I don't do that. Mine are sort of silly and probably not fit for printing usually. So whatever comes along that is good and worth finishing, like I don't want to give the game away because like they said, it's pretty cutthroat. There's so many people with designs and throwing them up online, almost like planting their flag. Whoever can get it up first is whoever can post it on the internet first is the yoink.
Can you just speak a little bit about that, about just your inspiration and sort of dealing with times maybe when another artist's idea is very similar to something that you had as an idea and both of you posted around the same time?
Oh, I'll jump in on that one. I did a Doctor Who, Monsters Inc., TARDIS door in the middle of the door machine. And I looked all over the internet just to make sure it hadn't been done yet. And then I finished it, I posted it, and then somebody I know had already done it and sent me an email and said, I already did that, right? And all I had to do was go to her website and see it, but she had different hashtags, different words describing the concept. And I think it was like the exact opposite of mine. Like mine was like Monster Who, and hers was like Dr. Inc. or something like that. Like it was the exact opposite. And she'd done it before me, and the execution was completely different. There's no way you could mistake them for each other. But it was a moment of panic and embarrassment, and I was like, I'll take it down if she said, no, it's okay. I just wanted you to know that I did it. And I guess being gracious is the best way to handle it. If you come out like guns blazing, then you'll be known as the guns blazing guy.
I had the exact same thing with Carrie Fry once. I had a Doctor Who, Star Wars, and Droid mashup, and it was with Cyberman and Daily.
He loves
but when I was working on it, I kind of had in my mind it was like a super hot Doctor Who period, and I thought, someone has to do this. This is like so obvious, but I couldn't find anywhere online doing it, so I was moving forward with it. And I didn't see anything about it, and I submitted it to TeeFury, and then I posted on my website, and like immediately she wrote to me, and it's just like, oh, that sucks. But she had sent it to TeeFury before me, and we talked about it. It's like, it's all cool. I mean, it was like such an obvious idea. That happens so much that, you know, there's a limited number of hot topics, and people, you know, combine everything together, and it was a logical one to do. And so she printed on TeeFury, and I got mine on a competitor's site. And so, yeah, we were all happy, and
I think you have to, like, you never know. I think I see a lot of artists that, like, just jump the gun. A few of them that I follow, they're like, oh my god, this person stole my idea, whatever. But when I did that Cinderella Doctor Who, I searched Cinderella and Doctor Who, didn't find anything. I did it, it kind of went viral. Then I did Ariel and Doctor Who, and then I did Belle, and like kept going. And I stopped searching after a while because I'm like, I'm gonna do this now. 3 years later, I was on DeviantArt. Someone sent me a link. They're like, I think this person is stealing your stuff, and it was. I think she was maybe in high school or something, and she had done it maybe 4 years before me, but she had never done Cinderella. So when I did that original search, I didn't find it. It was, some of them were like, it was like exact. It was eerie. I was like, I know I hadn't seen this. So there's no proving concept theft, I feel like, and everybody's kind of mashing things together to see what fits. That if you're gonna jump on someone, you never know when someone's gonna jump back on you. So
I mean, there are obvious rumors out there
if
that
someone
will.
takes your artwork and sticks it on a cell phone, you
Yes.
should go after them.
Yes.
But
Yes.
which is what I found Tim's art today on the magnets and the comment.
Well, I just had a Furiosa we can do it design on TeeFury, and I was keeping that secret because I'm like, this is such a good idea. I'm gonna be the first one, like what Captain Rimman said. I'm gonna plant that flag, boom, right? But apparently someone else did it at the same time, or I don't. No. They were doing it. What mine was done, they were doing it, but like I didn't reveal it, so they managed to finish it before. I finished it before, but they put it out in the internet before, and it went viral, and then people started accusing me of stealing and stuff like that. So I found the artist, I'm like, hey bro, I didn't steal your art just in case, but, and TeeFury agreed that they were gonna print it, but I wanted to be respectful to my fellow artists and say, hey, I did the same idea. I didn't copy. And if it was the roles reversed, like if he did it first and then I would just tear it down as a respect. But that's what I think people should do, just respect your fellow artists. Because I mean the internet is big and there's a lot of artists out there. There's gonna be a lot of same ideas. So you guys just have to like, at least the best method is to find the original artists and talk to them. Instead of just going online and saying, look at this guy. This guy sucks, he stole my stuff, you know what I mean? Because then, like,
Put bad things on his page.
Yeah.
Someone could go to this page.
Oh, he started an internet war. And
Yeah.
I've seen that happen where someone started an internet war and then got embarrassed because this guy, the person they were accusing of, had posted his 2 years before him. So.
A lot of my thought on that is I have come up with ideas that I've started to work on, and then I see someone else posting something pretty similar out there, and so I'll just trash what I've done. I mean, there's so many ideas out there, it's just kind of stupid to get tied up on one design. I mean, I can let one go, and it's no big deal.
Are you talking about bad backs?
Yeah.
Trash it.
Ideal, just
Bad backs, look for it.
How has your interaction with just the artistic community, like the tea community, how has that helped to define and advance your work as an artist?
So much.
Poorly. Oh, sorry. Well, very well.
Like Crystal and we talk to each other all the time because she is really good in one way and then she'll be like, I can't draw this hair, please fix this hair. Or I'm like, I can't get this angle right. I think it's huge to interact with other artists. It's been really, really helpful.
Yeah, you basically build a support group. You
Yeah.
make art, and you'll have to find artists who also love your work, and you'll find have their own style. And yeah, you kind of become a support group. And you guys, if it's and oftentimes I think collabing with other artists is probably some of the best stuff to get put out because you both like, oh, this what if you did this? Like, oh, and I love the way that you do line art, and I get to do some cool, composition, or I get to pixel art, you can do line art, something like that. And that stuff ends up being really great, and it also, you know, you have lasting friendships, and you kind of help each other promote each other's designs, and because, you know, we're all here just, you know, kind of trying to make a living as artists and make great stuff for people to wear and enjoy, and
no one else is going to understand what you're going through.
No, yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's huge, as
Yeah.
opposed to be like, I can't believe this is going on, and everyone's like, yeah, I totally get that.
definitely. I want to mention too that there's lots of people that are creative, but they don't have the artistic skills to go into stuff. TeeFury offers something too, a mentorship program where you can actually submit your idea for some cool concept or something like that, and you know, they'll actually like get in touch with us and it's like, hey, we'll help you out and we can work together and collaborate with people too and fans like that. Like this one is actually, someone wanted to make a fly design with the chamber, the telepod, and alright, so I did the fly and the telepod is the body, and I collaborated with this guy that had the idea for it. And then we did glow-in-the-dark ink, and it ended up turning out to be a really great design. And that's just, you know, another great way on how the community is really important, because that's an amazing idea. I love that movie, but I never would have come up with it without that. And you know, they made some pretty good money, and they might have, you know, made them want to become an artist too. So yeah, community is crucial.
I collaborate with a guy that leaves me really cryptic notes. Discover things that I never would have discovered. But back to that was another cryptic note.
You have to design this now. That's
mad bags. I guess have you ever heard that expression? Don't make enemies on accident. Has anyone ever heard that?
No.
That's again, like having a support group, having other friends that are artists is the best way to get anything done, to get people to help you, to get positive feedback, even to learn how to have good friends that can give you negative feedback. You know, tell you that your idea is horrible, or you don't know how to draw arms, or why is that guy have mashed potatoes at the end of his wrist? So I guess just being a nice, gracious person goes a long way. Make a reputation that way.
So how has, just the general sense of how has creating apparel and designs for apparel, how has that influenced how you work and affected your life as a whole? It's a very broad question.
Whenever I do a design now, it's tricky because I have to think about it in two ways. I have to think about how it's going to work as a print and how it's going to work as a shirt, because I have so many fans now that follow me and they want to collect shirts. So I kind of get halfway through a design and then it splits off and I end up saving like 2 or 3 Photoshop files, whereas I sketch it and I get the line art done and then I color it and think about the composition of the shirt and then think about the composition as a print, which are completely different things. And it's tough sometimes for my fans to or people following me to understand that, because they see a big rectangle print and they're like, please put that on a shirt. I'm like, no way is that going on a shirt. It has to be integrated in there. So for me, every idea that I come up with now, I have to either think about how I'm going to make it work both ways, or I'm going to have to commit to the print and be like, I'm really sorry, this is not ever going to be a shirt, and then deal with the possible backlash. In fact, I did a Merida one, Merida Doctor Who, and I really had this idea, and there's just no way it was going to work as a shirt, but I didn't care. I wanted to do it. And for 4 months afterwards, I got so many messages of, please leave Merida on a shirt, so I did a whole other one. So there's 2. So.
I was talking to Drew about this the other day because we were, you know, rehearsing the questions. And like, right, we were with Google Hangout, community support. And so designing the apparel affects me, and I think it affects everybody here in this panel, because you can't see, or when you do a t-shirt, people wear it. Like, they wear it to cons, and like, we are integrated in the cons. We see you guys, you know what I mean? So when I see that, I get pumped. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do more t-shirts. Like, I can't go to that person's house and see their walls and say, oh, my design's on their wall, you know what I mean?
It's so cool to see your prints in the wild.
Oh, it's
yeah, like,
crazy.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
So So that's like, it motivates me and keeps me going.
I'd say important thing to know when you're making t-shirt design. Well, there's composition's huge. Getting your eye to go around the different design, like and having details easily seeable from a distance, and the screen printing process uses limited colors. So how can you make this design pop and not feel flat, but only limit it to 3 or 4 colors? Or what can you do to halftone it so you have colors overlapping, so you get a little more broad range of coloring. And and like oftentimes, posters and shirts are pretty different, and because you don't want to really work with the edge of a t-shirt because there's screen printed on there and you don't want the details to be lost. And so, I think the great idea Karen's talking about, like doing a sketch and then kind of making different versions of variants of your art. So if you have an idea, try it out in different ways and think about, do I really need this in the design, or can I scrap it and make this thing bigger and easier to see from a distance? And do I really need 42 colors in the design, or can I limit it down to 4? And will it still work? And a lot of those things, it's a lot of like graphic design, logo thought process that goes into making artwork for t-shirts that you have to think about. And it's also a lot of fun too, because you kind of limit yourself and it makes it a little bit easier. Like, okay, I have a color palette, a warm color palette, and I don't want to make this too obscure, too weird. I have a clear idea, and then you sketch it out, try different variations, and ultimately you'll come up with something cool. And limitations can be really good. Important in making shirts.
We have just a couple minutes left, so just to wrap it up, where do you guys, where can aspiring artists find resources to help improve their work?
I guess Google and DeviantArt. That's a website with an artist community. There's so many artists, so many styles in there. You can go and just get slapped with inspiration.
One thing I would suggest is never give advice. There's a difference between, I think if you guys ever listen to This American Life, you know who Ira Glass is. He does a presentation on about, a little talk about, you find the thing you want to do and you start doing it, and then it takes a while for you to get the sophistication to where you can recognize, even though you might feel like you're doing great and everybody should see what you're doing, that you don't really realize yet that you're not in the same place as the things that inspire you. And there's a gap between what you do and the sophistication level that you reach. And all I'm trying to say is try to figure out how to reach that level. Like, don't stop studying what you find good about other people's art and see where it fits into yours. Like, if somebody does really good modulation of line and has nice heavy, like Winter artwork has such heavy, thick lines.
Yeah, don't be intimidated by people. There are so many incredible artists out there. I mean, Winter is so fantastic.
Yeah,
East Pop, I mean, we could go through a list of people that I think are just so incredibly good as artists that, if I were looking at them from the outside, I might be like, yikes, I'm not getting involved in that. These guys are way too good. But just screw it, just
You have to
do
put your
it.
ego aside and learn from them, like watch them and just try to not get taken
It's
into
like the Outliers, put in your 10,000 hours and do the work.
So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, find artists that you love and follow them and watch what they do.
Stalker.
And stalk them.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Well, don't stalk.
And then distill it. Don't take it.
Yeah, don't take it, but
Just, but to finish for Winter artwork, your lines are so fat. I think that camera's on.
yeah.
I also think if you go to conventions like this, if you go to Artist Alley and stuff, there's a bunch of artists there. You can look at their artwork too, and even talk to them and ask for the, ask them questions about their experience and stuff. That's inspirational to me when I.
Conventions are great too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all very much. Please give a round of applause to our panelists.